This is another embarrassment for Pakistan. Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has admitted that it is a matter of shame for nuclear power to beg for loans and financial aid. He also said that it was embarrassing for him to seek more loans from friendly countries, saying that it was not a permanent solution for the cash-strapped country's economic challenges, and has also admitted that for 75 years, different governments, whether headed by political leadership or military dictators, could not address the economic issues. Now, specifically, there are many issues that Pakistan is facing on not just an economic basis, but diplomatically and on a domestic basis as well. Diplomatically, India has, remember, many times called out Pakistan for being an epicenter of terrorism. We're crossing over to CNN News 18's Foreign Affairs editor Abhishek Jha to get us more details. Abhishek, what can you tell us about why the Pakistan Prime Minister has now made this statement admitting to the fact that it's embarrassing for Pakistan to ask for loans?
We know that Pakistan has been reeling under a lot of economic pressure, and this is not the first time that Pakistan has been dealing in the last few years. If you see, even Imran Khan, when he rode into a wave of supporters, and when he was established as the Prime Minister of Pakistan, he was also dealing with a lot of economic crisis. In fact, this was one of the key promises of Imran Khan that when he becomes Prime Minister, he will have some radical changes in economic policy so that Pakistan becomes self-sustainable and is not dependent on IMF and other monetary institutions from other part of the globe. But 5 years down the lane, we still see the same situation happening in Pakistan. Now the Prime Minister has only changed. Shehbaz Sharif is also seeking loans, aid, and assistance from all his peers. Recently, we saw how an event was organized in Geneva where Pakistan sought relief from countries from all around the world to deal with the after effects of flood that has ravaged Pakistan in the last few months. Shehbaz Sharif has accepted how UAE and Saudi Arabia has been coming to rescue Pakistan from its depleting foreign reserves that has been depleting, and also to assist it to have its monetary stability and economic sovereign ratings that a nation needs to have so that it does not default on its sovereign debt. So these are the crises that is also has political bearing, because when Pakistan is already under a lot of political turmoil, this economic crisis only makes its situation worse, and Pakistan Prime Minister's sort of confusion to the fresh recruits or the fresh probationers of the civil servants of Pakistan says a lot about Pakistan's current crisis, that is both political crisis and also the economic crisis that Pakistan is dealing right now.
All right, Abhishek, do stay with us. We are getting Mr. Sushant Sareen, Senior Fellow of the ORF, on the line with us. Mr. Sareen, thank you so much for speaking with CNN News 18. The Pakistan Prime Minister, Shehbaz Sharif, in a breaking development, has essentially admitted that it's embarrassing that a nuclear power has to beg for loans and aid to deal with their own economic situation. How do you see the statement?
Well, this is not the first time that Shehbaz Sharif is saying something like this. He said this earlier as well, that how much of embarrassment and mortification he undergoes having to beg all over the world. But the fact of the matter remains that Pakistan's status is today of a beggar nation. Everywhere they go, the biggest achievement of government is how much of aid they have been able to get out of their foreign partners. Or how much of assistance they are able to get, how many loans they are able to get. The achievement is not whether they are able to pay off loans or not. And the way the Pakistan economy has been structured and looted, including by people like Bilawal Bhutto's family, by Imran Khan and his cronies, by Shehbaz Sharif's family, by all these people, by the army, Pakistan army. The way they have looted it, you have a situation today where the foreign exchange reserves are likely to fall under $4 billion this week. Now, the moment foreign exchange falls below $4 billion, that means about 2 weeks of imports. That's as close to default as you can get. And then to prance around the world like you're some kind of a superpower, you have nuclear weapons. There have been other nuclear weapon states which have actually gone bankrupt and actually broken up. The Soviet Union, for example. So Pakistan is not a unique case in that sense. But the problem with Pakistan is that, no matter how much money you give it, because the way the economy is structured, that money is down the tube. It's never utilized properly. It is used by the generals and these politicians to buy villas in Dubai and houses in Europe and to send their kids to America. But it's not used for development inside Pakistan. So the only way Pakistan can now actually move forward is, one, if they give up this constant, parroting of nuclear weapon state, because those nuclear weapons are not going to get it food on the table, right? And I think it's the responsibility of the world that the dangers which the Pakistani nuclear weapons pose, this is a great opportunity to start using to actually get a firmer control over Pakistan's nuclear weapon systems, and for the Pakistani state to start contracting. It needs to contract in a very serious way so that it becomes sustainable and viable. Because the way it is structured right now, it is neither sustainable nor viable, and nobody is going to continue footing the bills for the Pakistanis endlessly. And the Pakistanis don't pay their taxes. They don't, every time you impose a tax, there are massive protests. So clearly they've reached, the tipping point where either they undertake to reform and to contract their army, their state, their nuclear weapon systems,
Absolutely.
all of which are a big drain on the economy, or they go down the tube.
Pretty interesting statements from you, Mr. Sareen, but do stay with us. We're also crossing over to Pathikrit Payne, who is an expert on these topics. Mr. Payne, what I wanted to ask you is, it's easy to put the blame on past governments, but what about coming up with long-term solutions?
Well, the long-term solution for Pakistan is to simply stop existing, because Pakistan has never been a viable state on its own. It has always taken advantage of its geostrategic location and have tried to capitalize on it by doing other people's dirty job. A country which never gave importance to building infrastructure or structural reforms, or a country which never gave importance to even education, I don't think that country can ever sustain on its own, and that's the reason they're begging today. Shehbaz Sharif also must remember and realize that one of the prime reasons for which Pakistan keeps on begging is because whatever money comes in, the feudal politicians like him and his clan are the ones who have looted the money out of Pakistan for a long period of time. And that's the reason perhaps there is no other country where there is such a huge distinction between the elite Pakistanis and almost the 90 to 95% of poor and downtrodden. Whether it is flood, whether it is playing the victim card of terrorism, or whether it is doing training terrorists for other countries, whatever the situation might be, Pakistan's feudal landlords and politicians and elite class have always benefited from it. I mean, there are 13 times IMF actually bailed out Pakistan. Where has that money gone? Shehbaz Sharif, his brother and his allied partner should actually answer for that. Have those money been used properly? Had it been used properly in development of industry, they wouldn't have seen this day. We must remember in 1990, India was on the verge of bankruptcy because of a severe balance of payment crisis. We ushered in reforms from that time onwards to today to becoming the 5th largest economy of the world, having $500 billion plus foreign exchange reserve in spite of so much challenges that many other countries have faced. Compare that to Pakistan, where they were in 1990 and where they are today. It is worse than even Bangladesh. Their $4.5 billion of foreign exchange reserve, out that entire money is borrowed money. It belongs to Saudis and the Chinese, and that $4.5 billion
Absolutely.
is less than the turnover of some of the smaller IT companies of India. So they must introspect, but sadly, a country which has never given importance to education and wisdom, they can't even introspect. That's the reality. And they'll continue like this. The elite will continue to make money. Shehbaz Sharif doesn't care even if the price of it goes up to 10,000 rupees per kg, because his ill-gotten money is enough to feed him for the rest of his for his generations to come.
Absolutely. Mr. Pathikrit Payne, Mr. Sushant Sareen, thank you so much for speaking to CNN News 18 and for giving us your perspectives on this. With this, we're heading into a very short break, but do stay with us.